Hello and welcome back to our Fireteam series in chapter 1 where we're making our characters. Previously we worked on our shooting, reloading of our characters' guns. In this episode we're going to start working on the reload UI and the reload actual code itself. So join us right now as we go through how to create our characters and finish off our characters' reload sequence. Hello and welcome back. Here we have our character with the shooting and the reloading animations done. So what we're going to do is actually put the reload functionality in there to allow us to see our depletion of bullets and then replace them with a whole new set. So first thing we're going to do is look at our weapon base. Now weapon base at the moment has nothing to do with ammo on its variables here. Let's make it. On our variables here we're going to create a new variable, and the first one we're going to do here is going to be current ammo. And this is going to be the current loaded ammo that the gun has. That'll be integer. And then going to make another one. This one will be called max ammo. And that's going to be like how much ammo could exist in your clip. Okay, and that'll do us for now. And I'll set both of these default values here to 32. 32 for max there. 32 for current. There. Okay. So next I want to go over to reload functionality. Now the way the reload functionality works is that the player is the only one that needs to know our reload numbers. We don't need to know the ammo counter for all the players on the server side. Only the client needs to know that. So on the event reload here, this is when we want to trigger the reload of the numbers. And we're going to do a very simple setup influenced by Overwatch type games. We're going to take the current ammo. Set to current ammo and just plug in the max ammo. So as our first ammo depletes, we can just hit reload and it will fill it back up. Okay. Now that will do it for our local one, which is fine. That's what we want. We want it to be local to the player. But then we need to tell it to update the UI of the character and show that on the screen. So first thing is let's talk about UI and how that shows. So let's go over to our folders here and create a UI folder. And in our UI folder, I'm going to create a new folder here, a subfolder called Game UI. Let's build a UI that's related to the gameplay of the game. So in here, I'm going to create a user interface widget blueprint, and this will be the player in-game HUD. And we're going to create another sub widget of this. So create another user interface widget blueprint, and that'll be player, weapon ammo. Open weapon. So this we're going to keep very simple. We're going to get rid of the canvas panel, and in its place we're going to put in a very simple vertical box. And inside that vertical box we're going to have a horizontal box. So the vertical box stacks its contents vertically. Horizontally it stacks it in a horizontal fashion. So what I've got here is I've got a decorator that I can now design the look of my display here. So I'm going to have some text in there for the current ammo. Write that in. And I'm going to duplicate that again for the max ammo. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the text block here, the first one at front. I'll make it all uppercase first of all. So just in case you want it to be anything special. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger too. So I'm going to go to font and go to size and change it to 36. And then I'm going to go to the next one, and this one I'm going to make a lot smaller. I'm going to go and call this one, let's say 18. And I'm going to actually put this at the bottom as well. So I'm just going to click on the little vertical align bottom, push it down. Now if I replace these with both the number 32, you can see what kind of look this goes for. Okay, so you get this big number that is for our current ammo, and our little number is the maximum our gun can hold. Okay, so we've got that in there. We now need to hook that up with a variety of different information. The first thing you need to know is the weapon that is being used. So I'm going to go to the graph here and create a new variable, and this is going to be called weapon. And the parent class, the variable type for this would be weapon parent class. Weapon base object reference. And then we go to the construct or pre-construct, either one. Let's do construct. And I'm going to drag out the weapon reference. And from there, I should be able to find the ammo labels added. I want to get the current ammo, and I'm going to get the max ammo. And then from those, I want to connect those up to our text blocks. Now, text blocks don't appear here by default. You do need to go to the designer view and click on them. And tick the box that says is variable. Call it one current ammo text. Another one I'm going to call max ammo text. And tick the is variable again. Now if I go to my graph view, I should see these two here on the right hand side, left hand side, sorry. On the construct, let's drag out current ammo text and do set text. And plug. And then we're going to do the current ammo into there. And then we want to do the max ammo. Back all this down actually. So, and drag out max ammo text, get set text, and plug in the max ammo in there. Okay. So that only happens though on the construct, so it's not going to be constantly updating. So we need to make a way for it to link it to the weapon and to watch it for any reload changes that happen. Now at the moment, widgets are, well, all widgets actually in your game are going to be local to the client only, so you're not going to be referencing anything remotely. However, for our reload, that is being done locally anyway. So we can use that to tell our UI here to update. So what we're going to do is go to my weapon base, add an event dispatcher to it. And this event dispatcher is going to be called on reloaded. And then on the event reload, I'm going to drag this out and do all. So now when it reloads, we are shouting out saying, hey, I've reloaded. In that instance, we're going to go over to our weapon ammo kit here. And on the construct for this, we're going to break out from the start here, our weapon base. And we're going to do bind event to on reloaded. And this is going to go into a sequence node because we want to do this at the start of the game. So we go into there. Node. And the event that we want to trigger for this is going to be a custom event called on reloaded. To plug that in like so to the rest of this. Then on a sequence, after then 0 has done its thing, on then 1, we can either drag that down to here, or you can also drag out the on reloaded function to then 1 instead. Now do the exact same thing. Those two are not connected at all. So that'll update the information for us when we load our gun. We also want it to happen when we shoot our gun. So what I'm actually going to do is actually going to change the name of this one to update ammo. I'm going to call this one update ammo. And rather than just have it be called just for reloading, we also want it to listen out for when we shoot. So let's go back to our weapon class and do another event dispatcher for on shot. And find where we do the call on the main guy, primary fire here. And up top here, we're going to drag out on shot. Oh, and plug that in. And when that happens, we're just going to tell our UI to update and check for new values. So let's go into our ammo. And on that then 0, we're going to bind again. Drag that out and do bind event to on shot. Okay, and then that event down there will also go into update ammo. If you don't want lines going everywhere, you can use the create event node, which does save a bit of mess. Click on there and just choose on here update ammo, and then go to that one. Okay, set up. Oh, and save there. Right, so let's get this actually showing on the screen. So let's go to our UI folder here, and we're going to create a blueprint class, and this class is going to be the HUD class. And choose HUD. Okay, and we call this one in-game HUD. Go to your player in-game HUD that we made before, which is an empty widget with just a canvas panel, and we're going to add in here our weapon ammo kit and put that into wherever we want it to be. In this case, I'm going to put it right in the bottom corner here. So I'm going to go bottom corner, hold down Control and Shift, and it will snap it for me and set up the alignments for me too. So I just need to make the size different, so we're going to do size to content, and there we go. And we're just going to change the positioning here because obviously that's a bit too close to the corner. So we're going to go -100, -100 Y as well. Okay. Obviously you can tweak this to your liking, you can do whatever you like with this. Okay, so we've got that on the screen, all good to go. Let's now put that HUD widget onto our HUD class. So let's go to folder, open up in-game HUD. So the HUD class is a class that can be found on any controller, and the player controllers can display information via the HUD class. There's a few extra features that are unique just to it, but it's usually the best place to put things like anything heads-up display. So let's go to our event graph here, and on begin play, I'm going to do create widget and choose the player in-game HUD and promote that to a variable in-game HUD, and then from there add to view. Okay. Right, so that's that done. We've got in-game HUD set up with the begin play. We just need to tell our game to actually use the in-game HUD class. So in our scene here, we're going to use our game mode. The game mode for this particular scene is found in the first person BP folder, blueprints, and you'll see first person game mode. Go inside here, and then go ahead and change the HUD class from first person HUD to my in-game HUD. And take a look at this in-game. Okay, so you see we've got numbers in the bottom corners here. We've got 00 there, and on the server window we've got 00 there. So let's go and check, make sure we've got our numbers set up correctly. So what are these errors? Let's have a look. Aha, there's the issue. So our weapon variable we've got hasn't been set up yet, so I forgot to go do that. Let's go back and take a look at our weapon class then. So our UI and weapon class need to be connected, so our weapon ammo knows which weapon this is referring to. So what we can do is on the pre-construct, we're going to get player character. And remember, player character is going to give us the local character, and HUD widgets and any kind of widget is going to get you the HUD characters as well. So this works totally fine for our needs here. And we want to take this one, and we want to cast to our first person character. We then take from the first person character here and search for FP gun. And from there we're going to go and get the child actor and cast that to our weapon base. Plug this in, and then we can simply set our weapon to our output there. That's happening on a pre-construct, so it should happen before this does, so we shouldn't get any issues. So let's check this out in game. You should see the numbers 3232 in the corner. So as you can see, you've got 3232 on the server view, but the client view still says 00. Now, take a second. Why do you think that is the case? What's special about the client compared to the server? The unique thing the client has is lag compared to the server. And that lag is the issue here. The HUD class is spawning before the character class does and assigns the player to it. Therefore, the HUD isn't being updated. So therefore, you're going to get errors. So, in order for us to make this work with our weapon ammo here, we first of all only want to be able to do this if weapon is valid. So let's just drag that across here, and convert that to validated get. That's the first thing. That's going to get rid of our errors, but we're still going to get 0, 0 appearing on the clients. So what we're going to do is account for that lag. We're going to do a check if it hasn't got that valid weapon here, to do a timer to try and get it again. And that weapon over here is getting caught by this thing here. So on pre-construct here, we're going to put another custom event, and we call this one fetch weapon reference, and we're going to plug that into the start there. So on this is not valid here, we're going to do a set timer by event, and the time is how long you want it to keep doing this on the loop for. So we're going to do every 1 second, it's going to keep trying to get that value. This will only happen when weapon is not valid. So do this, and then on the event here, we'll create event, and we're going to do fetch weapon reference. Then we're going to go down to update ammo and do the exact same for weapon here. Just convert that to validate get, and make so only update it if it's valid reference. Okay, let's check that out. We've got 32, 32 in this corner, and then we've got 32, 32 in this. Perfect. So all we need to do now is make it so that when we shoot, it goes down. So head over to your weapon base, and inside the primary fire event, which is the message from the combat interface, this is where we're going to take away our local current ammo value. Remember, this is local still. So we're going to take current ammo here, and we'll do a check to see that this is actually still equal and able to fire. So current ammo, we're going to say is greater than, if ammo count is greater than 0, not greater than, equal to, just greater than, and put that into a branch. We'll put that into there. Okay, so that will now shoot out if it has got some ammo into true. But then we want to take away some ammo from that. So after we've done call shot here, we're going to do current ammo out, get, and then from there we're going to do -1 and set that to current ammo. And put the call on shot after that change. That way it gets updated after the shot. Okay, let's now test that out. Okay, so if we go ahead and push play, we will now see the server character shoot and the numbers go down. But you'll notice that the numbers do not go down for the second player. Now, the reason why it's not going down in the second player is because of something that's unique to them, and that is lag. The HUD class, when it first loaded, was spawned in by the server at the start before the character was. Therefore, when it's trying to get a reference to the character inside the widget, it was unable to do so because it couldn't find that character yet. It still wasn't loaded into the game. So what we need to do is put a loop in there to check for the player if it still doesn't have one. So let's go ahead and go to a weapon ammo and take a look at what we're doing here. So at the moment on pre-construct, we're doing this to get our reference. I'm just going to disconnect that and make a custom event in there. I'm going to call this one fetch references. And go plug that in like so. We're then going to call fetch references on the pre-construct for our server's sake. We then, on our construct here, going to attempt to do the bindings here. Now the bindings need to also be a separate function too. So we're going to disconnect this, and we're going to take all this along, and I'm just going to create a custom event called create bindings, and we'll plug that in sound event reloaded. Before we do that though, let's just do a little validation check on our weapon here. Convert the validated get, put is valid in. Now create the bindings. So the way the games work is like we want the pre-construct to find references, and then on the construct it's going to try and create the bindings, which is fine. You want to leave it like that, that's totally okay. However, If it is unable to do so because this is no longer valid, still not valid, we need to tell it to do a timer and loop back on it. So on is not valid here, you're going to drag this out and do a set timer by event. Time wise, we're going to do 1 second, and the event is going to be a create event, and we're going to choose the fetch references. So if it is failed to get the weapon reference, it will try again and get that reference. We then want it to call the create bindings again at the end of fetch references so that it can have a chance to go back and create the bindings. Doesn't, then it'll just do it again and again and again and again. So take this create bindings from your construct and put this over here on your fetch references. Plug that in. Oh, so if we go test that out, we'll see that it still won't work. Now I push play on the client side. That's because we're not just loading up the player class, we're also loading up the gun class as well. So if we go back to our weapon ammo widget, you've got this cast failed on the fetch references. So if there's something hasn't loaded up in time, it's just going to go and cast failed. So what we're going to do is do the same thing with the timer. I'm going to take that, copy it, and we'll just put it on the cast failed there, cast failed of there. Remember, this is not looping, so it's not going to keep trying to do this. It's only going to do it whilst it is still not valid. So let's go and push play now. And in the game, our server can shoot just fine. Numbers going down. Hit the R, and they can reload. And then we've got our other character here. They can shoot. Numbers go down. Hit R to reload. Perfect. And that's it. And if you want to make it so that it only does the reload number at a certain point in animation, you can use a montage notifier to handle that. So just go over to your weapon base and go to where we handle the reloading, which is, yep, okay. And you want to change these montage plays out. So rather than going from the anim instance like this, we're going to take from mesh 2p to play montage and swap that out for this one. And just plug that in there. Choose this is a reload. And same again for this one. This one is going from the third person mesh. And this requires the reload rifle hit. You can get rid of those anim instances there. And then when we have that montage notifier, it's going to come out and notify begin. That's when we want the actual reload number to actually work and when to happen. So over here, we've got reload being set up on the input. Just take that from there and plug that in to our replicated event over here. I begin and notify. Actually, let's just take it up like that. Okay. Now, remember, this is only going to affect the current max ammo of the one that is running the animation, which we don't want to be the case. We only want it to do it on the one that is for us, our locally controlled one. So we actually not on this one, we just want it on this one. Then don't forget to also put on the on reloaded call event down there as well. So the UI gets updated. And then finally, you just go to the montages and add the montage notifier. But at the point of the montage where you want the reload to actually lock in the number, which is about there for this one, go to notify track, right click, add notify, montage notifier. And that will trigger that branch on that node. Do that one for that one. And we'll go to the other one that we have. Start the pack. Load. And about there. And notify. So let's go ahead and push play on this. And if I shoot, and then hit R, you'll see a number change at the moment that my hand goes back up. Okay. Perfect. Exactly what we need. There we have it. We've now got our finished reload sequence for our players. both with animations, UI, and the actual act of reloading the gun too. In the next episode, we're going to work on the creation of the damage system, so how to deal damage to players using your weapons. You can watch that new episode right now over on patreon.com/Ryan Laley. You can find all my videos early from just $1 a month. Massive thank you to all my patrons and YouTube members for the continued support. Don't forget to also download and play Fireteam yourself right now over on Steam for free. Thanks for going and watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye everyone.
I'm ready to play now, put me in the game now. I came here to prove it, I'm ready to do it, I can't be afraid now. Put me on the stage now, I'm ready to rage now. I feel like an animal stuck in a cage and I'm ready to break out. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. This time, like the last time, you better get ready to race to the top. I'm ready to do this, show you what the truth is. I step on the field, it's time to get real, I'm feeling so ruthless. My time, none of you people can tell me to